Happened since I in Cleveland, shout out, I'm bleeding. I told her I'm big like B, but she ain't believe me. A whole lot of motherfucking drugs, a whole lot of motherfucking cups. Count all these hundreds, done fucked up my thumbs. Pepsi set drugs, weed, shot, I done killed my lungs. I'ma fuck the whole that's time, shot the hand still ain't done. Looking like rock, popping that boy like pop.
Hey guys, in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the plugin Tracer 2 by Hope. This is a really popular plugin that has recently caught on. The first Tracer plugin by Hope did extremely well. You guys went really crazy on the sales and it seems like you guys loved it. So Hope thought about making a second one, and there's some really cool features I'd love to show you guys and some features I asked Hope personally to add to this plugin. If you want the plugin, you can get it using the link in the description. You can even use code INARCC to get a 10% off discount. With that being said, let's get started. Alright, so the first major feature with this plugin is that you can now use it in your edit page and you don't have to open Fusion. So go into your effects panel up here and type in Hope, and it should bring up Hope Tracery 2 right there. And then just slap it onto the adjustment layer. You can slap it onto the clip if you want to, but it's better to put it on an adjustment layer because you can control the duration of the effect. And on your right side, you should have the plugin right here with all the controls. Right, so the first effect we're going to have here is this transparent effect. This is really helpful because when you take it, you can go up to video and change the composite mode to difference, and it gives this really cool looking effect right here. You can even go crazier by adding a glow. So you want to go up to your effects and you can just add glow on top of it, and it will add a glow on top of your tracer. Now moving on to our detection area, of course, we have this detection zone, which basically just shows the amount of blobs that are being tracked, and you can control it using this luminance slider down here and just let the plugin know which parts you want to detect. A new feature Hope added to the tracking was target color right here in the edit page. So you basically want to click right here, drag this down, and you can basically just control which parts of the image you want to be tracked according to color. Let's say I wanted to just track this area right here, and we've done that just using the target color, which is a really cool feature, and you can even keyframe it if you want to. Now moving on, we have this new feature here called animations. So I'm going to scroll down and turn off my lines down here. I'm going to scroll up and enable my rectangle, cross and coordinate animations, and when I play through right here, you're going to notice that only one blob is visible at a time depending on the consecutive frames I set right here. So if I take this slider all the way down to 1 frame, you're going to notice that the duration of the frames has increased by a lot, and it gives you this really cool glitch effect. Same thing applies with taking it all the way up, let's say up to 14. You can now see that the blobs are staying on screen for a lot longer depending on this slider right here, which is a really cool effect, and you can even keyframe this to help you animate in and out of a scene using the Tracery plugin, or just to control the blob randomness. Moving on to our coordinates down here, of course you can change the fonts depending on which font you want, and you can make it bold or regular. Then from there we have our text size, and you can just control the size of the text. And now we have a new feature right here in Tracery 2. We have this placement, which basically just controls the placement of the text right here. You can basically make it go to the left side, or you can choose midpoint depending on which one you want. Now finally we have this metadata section right here, and you can choose what data you want to display. You can display your coordinates, width and height, index, area, and my personal favorite one, which is aspect ratio, which I feel looks extremely cool. And of course we can just choose at which point we want this text to be placed using the justification down here, and we can even increase decimal places. I feel like keeping it this high is really cool. All right, now let's move on to our lines down here. You're going to notice that the nearest neighbor feature, which is in Tracery 1, is also in this one. It basically just connects the lines to the nearest neighbor, as you can see right here using this slider. But Hope added some really cool features to the line connection. First one we have down here is my favorite one, which is the center star. This basically just picks a point and sticks to that point throughout the whole clip. As you can see right there, it's stuck to this point and it just stays right there, and I feel like it looks really sick. Next one we have is the triangulation one, which is also really sick because in this one the lines never overlap, and it gives you this really cool feature right here, which I think looks sick. Then from there we have k-nearest. This basically lets you define how many blob connections you can have at most, right? So right there, as you can see, we have this many, and you can take it all the way down and basically just lets you define how many connections you can have at most depending on the setting up here. All right, now let's move on to the rectangles right here. So the first change we have here is rectangle shape, and we have multiple options down here. The first one is corner right here, which looks extremely sick. I actually like this one a lot. You can control the width of the corners right here by making them slightly bigger or smaller, and of course you can control the thickness as usual. And honestly, I feel like this is better than the regular rectangle. Then from there we have my personal favorite one, which is the invert, and I feel like it looks really cool. I personally like this one because I suggested it, and it can go a long way in your edits. Right, so I've moved to the Fusion page for this one. You don't have to be in the Fusion page, by the way. I just moved here because I want to try something out. But the next one we have in rectangles is the mask, and I asked Hope to add this one because I saw this in Tash design and I think it looks really cool because you can get really creative with this. It basically just makes the rectangles the masks, and it looks absolutely insane. I like it so much. You can even grab a brightness and contrast node. You can drag this into your node tree and you can take the saturation down and you have this really cool looking effect. And if I go into my edit page right here, you have something that looks like this. If you stack multiple Tracery plugins plus the mask down below, you have something that looks absolutely insane. And I think this will be the thumbnail of the video because it looks crazy. And one thing that I forgot to mention on the lines is that you can have them curved, of course, with some dashed lines, and you can control the gap length, line length right here as usual, and you can control the curvature and all that stuff. Alright, now let's move on to the cross section right here. So the first one we have, of course, is a cross, which is the one you guys are used to, but Hope added a vector down here, which is my personal favorite one because I have no idea what algorithm it's using to do this, but it looks extremely sick. And of course, you can control the size, the thickness, and the color. And the next one we have is the target, which actually looks sick, but I would have loved Hope to add something else. Alright guys, this is the end of the video. Again, you can get the plugin using the link in the description, and you can use code INRAXY to get a 10% discount, as well as other cool plugins that Hope has, like Hope Illustrator, which I will make a video on because you can do some really cool stuff with this. I will be back with more flow tutorials. I have some really cool edits that I haven't made tutorials on. I think there are about 3 of them, so I'll make a tutorial on those. That being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll check you out in the next one.